If you're finding it difficult to create a storyboard or maintain character consistency in your AI film, then this video is for you. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you a completely free method you can use to generate a storyboard, create characters, build environments, and maintain consistency throughout your AI filmmaking workflow using Google Flow. By the end of this video, you'll see how all of these pieces can come together into a simple, organized process. Now, as you've probably seen, Google Flow recently introduced several updates, including the new Omni Flash model. While many people are focused on those updates, I want to show you a different approach that can make planning your next AI film much easier. We'll use Google Flow's Storyboard Studio to automatically generate characters, locations, props, and a complete storyboard. More importantly, we'll look at how this workflow helps with character consistency and scene continuity across your project. Everything is straightforward, beginner-friendly, and works whether you're using a mobile device or a computer. So with that said, let's get started. The first thing you want to do is head over to labs.google/fx/tools/flow. I'll include the link in the description of this video, but you can also find it by searching for Google Flow on Google. One thing I want to point out is that this method works whether you're using a phone, a laptop, or a desktop computer. If you're on mobile, simply switch to web view and access the site from there. And yes, this workflow is completely free. Once you're inside Google Flow, create a new project. After creating the project, give it a few moments to load, and you'll be taken into your workspace where everything is ready for the next step. After your project is loaded, go to the Tools section and scroll down. Under the prompting category, you find Storyboard Studio by Google. Click on Storyboard Studio and allow the tool to load. This usually takes a few seconds, and once it's ready, you have access to the main storyboard creation interface. Inside Storyboard Studio, you'll find several storyboard styles to choose from. You can work with styles such as realistic, 3D animation, charcoal, claymation, and 3D concept. You also have the option to create a custom style by describing exactly how you want your storyboard to look. For this tutorial, I'm going to use the realistic style. If you've watched my previous video on risograph animation, you'll know that you can also create custom visual styles directly inside this section. Simply enter your style description and let the tool generate that look for you. The good thing is that even after selecting a style, you can still switch to another one later if needed. Now let's move on to the script. One thing I really like here is that all you need to do is paste your entire script into the tool. If you already have a completed script containing dialogue, scenes, locations, and other details, simply paste everything here and continue with the workflow. It's a very simple process. If you're creating an AI film, this feature works particularly well because it allows the storyboard generation process to build directly from your script. You also have another option. Instead of pasting a script, you can simply describe your story and allow the tool to generate a script for you. For this demonstration, I won't be using an existing film script. Instead, I'll ask the tool to generate a sample script so we can quickly walk through the process. That said, if you're working on an actual AI filmmaking project, I recommend creating your script beforehand and then importing it into Storyboard Studio. In other words, having a detailed script first usually gives you better results throughout the workflow. Personally, I prefer generating scripts with Claude or ChatGPT before bringing them into Google Flow. This gives me a more detailed foundation for my AI film, especially when I'm aiming for stronger character consistency and more detailed scene descriptions. So for this demo, I'll simply enter the idea and allow the tool to generate a script. Once the script is generated, you can review it, make edits if necessary, and format it however you want. After that, we can move to the next stage. At the top, you notice three main sections: script, assets, and storyboard. The script section is where your story lives. The assets section is where we generate the characters, locations, and props. And finally, the storyboard section is where everything comes together. Let's start with the assets section. When it comes to generating characters, there are two different approaches you can use. The first method is to manually create your character. Simply click on character, enter the character's name, add a visual description, and then generate the character. For example, if you're already using a Claude workflow or one of the character generation systems I've shared before, you may already have a character name and a detailed description prepared. In that case, you can simply paste those details here and generate your character. This approach gives you more control because you're supplying the exact description yourself. However, for this tutorial, I want to demonstrate a different workflow that can save time. Instead of manually entering everything, I'm going to use autofill characters. Basically, this allows Google Flow to automatically generate the characters based on the script we've already created. So I'll click autofill and let the system do the work. At this point, you'll see the images begin generating. Give it a few moments while Google Flow creates the character assets for the project. While the character images are generating, you can scroll down to the location section. The process here is very similar. If you already have a detailed location description prepared, you can manually enter it and generate the location yourself. But if you want a faster workflow, simply click autofill location and allow Google Flow to generate the environment automatically. Again, this is all being built from the script and project information we've already provided. Next, we have props. Props are the items your characters interact with throughout the story. Basically, these are things like guns, arrows, handbags, school bags, or any other objects that appear within the scenes. Just like with characters and locations, you can manually enter descriptions if you already have them prepared. Or you can click autofill and allow Google Flow to generate the props automatically. Once everything has finished generating, you'll have a complete set of assets ready for your project. You'll see your characters, your environments, and your props all organized inside the assets section. Looking through the generated characters, you'll notice that they look realistic and well suited for an AI film workflow. The same applies to the locations, which are often generated from multiple angles, giving you a stronger visual foundation for your project. The props are also generated and ready to use. At this point, you already have a strong starting point for maintaining character consistency throughout your film, because all of these assets are being organized within the same workflow. Now let's move on to the final stage, which is generating the storyboard itself. This is where everything starts coming together. The storyboard can be used as a starting frame for your video generation process. If you've watched my previous storyboard workflow videos where we extracted images from grids and used them as references, this approach simplifies that process considerably. If you already have detailed shot-by-shot prompts prepared inside Claude or ChatGPT, you can enter those shots manually, reference the relevant assets, and generate each scene individually. You can select the characters, locations, and props that belong to a particular shot and build your storyboard that way. However, for this tutorial, I'm going to use the faster approach. Since we already have the script and assets prepared, I'll simply click autofill scene. What this does is combine the characters, locations, and props together. It then creates individual shots and generates a shot-by-shot storyboard for the project. In other words, it automatically creates the visual breakdown of the film. Once the images finish generating, you have a complete storyboard ready to review. You can go through each shot one by one and examine how the scenes have been constructed. And this is where the workflow becomes particularly useful. Because the storyboard is built from the same assets, you can clearly see how the characters, locations, and props are being carried across the different scenes. This helps create stronger character consistency and visual continuity throughout the project. Once you're satisfied with the storyboard, you can download the images and use them as start frames for video generation. Now, for someone like me, I usually prefer using image references for characters and assets, then combining those references with text to video generation. However, if you're working with an image to video workflow, this storyboard process gives you a very solid starting point. All you need to do is use the storyboard images as your start frames and begin generating your videos from there. Before moving forward, one small tip: make sure you pin Storyboard Studio. Sometimes it can disappear from the tools section, so pinning it makes it easier to access later. Next, go to All Media. Inside this section, you'll find all of the assets you've generated, including your characters, locations, props, and storyboard images. You can download these assets and use them elsewhere if needed. For example, if you want to work in platforms such as OpenArt or Higgsfield, you can export the assets and continue your workflow there. If you decide to generate directly inside Google Flow, select the shots you want to use, click Add to Prompt, paste your prompt, and make sure Agent is toggled off. Then switch to video mode, select your preferred model, choose your aspect ratio, and begin generating. At the moment, I find Omni Flash to be the strongest option available inside Google Flow, so that's the model I would use for this process. And that's really it. As you can see, this workflow gives you a practical way to build a storyboard while also maintaining character consistency throughout your AI film. When you review the generated shots, you'll notice that the same characters continue appearing across the scenes, helping create stronger visual continuity. That's one of the biggest advantages of starting with a storyboard. You get a detailed overview of how the film looks before moving into video generation. To wrap up, we started by creating a project inside Google Flow, opened Storyboard Studio, generated a script, created our assets, and then used those assets to build a complete storyboard. Along the way, we generated characters, locations, and props, then combined everything into a visual shot-by-shot breakdown that can be used for video creation. More importantly, this process helps with both storyboard creation and character consistency, making it easier to maintain continuity throughout your AI film. So guys, that's it for this tutorial on storyboarding with Google Flow. If this video helped you, be sure to give it a thumbs up and like the video. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Lights out. Arigato.